Hello again, welcome to this next issue about women in church. Today we're going to go through Corinthians. I believe it is 1 Corinthians 14. And we will go into Timothy. So enjoy this teaching. Firstly, I'm going to prove to you that they do not refer to the same thing. So, the majority of people who believe that Timothy and Corinthians actually refer to the same thing uh, are wrong, in my opinion. And please look at this video. I just want to prove that uh, Timothy, where it says that the woman should learn in silence and should not teach over man or usurp authority over man, is not the same as Corinthians, where it says that a woman should not talk or give an utterance or speak in church, but ask her husband at home. So first, by God's grace, we will manage to break this connection between these two verses. And please leave a comment below if you agree that there is absolutely no connection between Corinthians and Timothy. This is the issue here. I am claiming that there is no issue, there is no connection between Corinthians and Timothy regarding women. And they deal with two totally different subjects. So if you agree with me that they deal with two different separate issues, please leave a comment below over here in the comment section. If you don't agree also, please it would be interesting to find out your opinion about the matter. May Jesus bless you. We will start with 1 Corinthians 14:34. It means, do not open your mouth in church. Keep your mouth shut. Don't ever sing in church. Don't ever give a prophecy in church. Don't ever ask any questions in church. I do not allow and never will I allow women to give any utterance in church. I will prove to you that this is what it means. It says here, let your women keep silence. I do not permit them to speak. The word speak here, we can find it, is G2980. It means, is the word laleo, right? It means to give an utterance, to utter words. Here is the context of this word being used before. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake, while he yet talked to the people, desiring to speak with him. Voice speaking unto me. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 11 means humble learning. To let the woman learn in silence. The word silence here, if we look into the Greek, is hezukia. Over here it's a context where this word is used. Another context than Timothy. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence, and he said. So we see here that they were not really listening to Paul, but when the Jews heard him speaking in Hebrew, they were humble and they were listening and learning while being humble. And they were doing that in submission. That is exactly what that verse means. Before, they were probably making noise. They were not really respecting Paul. But after they heard him speaking their own language, they showed some respect, and they have submitted to that, and they have learned and listened to in silence without making a fuss, without making noise. And that, my friends, is referred to men. Okay? They were men, probably there were women there as well, but for sure they were men. And they were in silence when they heard Paul speak in their language. Okay, another word where Hezukia is used, we see here in Thessalonians. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. Over here, just like in the verse before, it's still Paul talking, and he refers to men that were busybodies. They were gossipers, right? Now, verse 12. Now them that are such we command and exhort by our Lord Jesus Christ, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread. So here it refers to, is the same word before. We saw that it meant humble submission, humble learning, humble listening. We saw in the previous verse that they were more silent when Paul began to speak in their tongues. If you can be more silent, that means they were silent before. So obviously it was referring to their noise, not their level of noise. Now we see here that some men were busybodies, and the same word is used. This time is translated quietness. It still Hezukia G2271. So here, Paul is telling them in quietness they should work. So still, the same word referred to in a different context is saying that men should be working with quietness and not be gossipers, okay? To be in quietness, to work in silence, okay? So you can see this word being used in a different context, which still has the same meaning. It means to be humble, not to be a busybody, not to be a gossiper. And this, my friends, my dear brothers and sisters, is also referring to males, to men, okay? And of course, we have our controversial verse here in 1 Timothy 2, where it says, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. So 3 times we see this word being used in the New Testament. We saw the 3 contexts. 2 of them are referring to men. 1 of them is referring to women. And exactly the same meaning is telling them to learn in silence. Okay? It is definitely not telling them to not be able to give an utterance like in 1 Corinthians 14. But just tells them to learn in quietness, in subjection with silence, and not be noisy, not be taking authority by force, and not be gossipers, busybodies, dominating. That's what it means. Okay? So let's not forget our small teaching today is not for me to prove from any of these scriptures anything, but for us to determine, is there any connection between 1 Corinthians 14 and 1 Timothy 2? Both of them, in English translation, use the word silence. But I hope that I have convinced you that one of them means to give a utterance, and one of them means to learn with a humble spirit. May Jesus bless you.